You are a robot vacuum cleaning my apartment. And not just any robot vacuum, this is a Roomba, part of the OG family of robot vacuums courtesy of iRobot. On March 11th, 2025, iRobot launched its flashy new Roomba line, but just 2 days later, the company quietly told investors it might not make it to the end of the year. Yeah, the company that literally invented the robot vacuum. iRobot had a net loss of $145 million in 2024, and US sales dropped 47%. Time of crash, Q4 2024. Condition is stable, but very weak. Just look at the stock chart. It looks like a Roomba that fell down the stairs. I started the exam. Stick with me here. I got this doctor's coat just for this video with the most obvious question: is this just natural decline? Roombas were just a fad, like Segways or 3D TVs. But that's not true. The robot vacuum industry is booming worldwide. So how did iRobot, the company that helped launch this category, start to fall so low while the industry keeps climbing? To find out, I examined market data and industry trends, traced iRobot's innovations through the 2010s, and dissected a Roomba to better understand the competition. Along the way, I uncovered the exact moment its product's biggest advantage quietly disappeared. I not only found the causes for this crash, but also signs that this patient may not be as lifeless as you may think. Oh, wait, buddy. I want to show you this freeze frame of Rosie the robot from a 1962 episode of The Jetsons. Why am I showing you this? Well, because Rosie the robot wasn't just comic relief. She was the futuristic fantasy, a tireless machine that cleaned your home before you even asked, while you focused on other things or just relaxed. Eat that sandwich, George. Before Roomba, home robot assistants like this was the stuff of cartoons and sci-fi. They existed technically, but nobody had figured out how to make them practical or affordable. Then came iRobot. The company launched the first Roomba in 2002 after thankfully ditching earlier names like Rug Warrior and Cybersuck. Those were real names, by the way. It wasn't flashy, but it worked, and the suggested retail price was $199.95. That's at least $1,000 less than the only other option at the time. iRobot solved a problem most people hadn't even thought to solve: a vacuum that vacuumed for them. By the mid-2000s, Roomba wasn't just a gadget, it was a cultural moment.
You know, if we died right now and decomposed, it would vacuum us up. No one would ever know.
People filmed their cats riding it, they even gave it names. If you're somebody out there who named your Roomba, comment below, let me know, what did you name your Roomba? Don't be shy now. Bottom line is iRobot kept pushing. Dirt detection, self-emptying bases, app control. They were the best. For a long time, there was no real competition. iRobot stayed at #1 for around 2 decades and even debuted a RoboMop that retailed right around the same affordable price as the Roomba. In 2016, the company peaked, accounting for 64% of the global market share. It was winning a race where it was really the only one racing. Essentially, there wasn't a lot of real competition. However, around that same time, others began to gain ground. By 2020, iRobot's share had dropped to 46%. By 2022, it was down to 40%. By 2023, Ecovacs and Roborock were right behind them. Then came 2024. Roborock dusted them. They pulled ahead. Now, there are a few reasons why I pulled ahead, but the most relevant to our story is innovation, like robotic arms that pick up and move your socks out of the way, and seamless floor transitions that raise the bar for smart vacuums. The robot vacuum market kept expanding. iRobot's share kept shrinking. Remember what I said earlier? In the fourth quarter of 2024, iRobot reported a 47% drop in revenue in the US. For the first time in around 2 decades, Roomba was getting left behind. This wasn't a sudden fall. It was the result of a long list of decisions and a few curveballs out of its control that chipped away at iRobot's dominance. First came the distractions. I mean the diversifications. In early 2019, iRobot announced Terra, a robotic lawnmower. It was supposed to be their big move into outdoor robotics, over 10 years in the making. But in a 2020 investor call, iRobot announced it was suspending launch plans for its Terra robot lawnmower, citing COVID-related delays and the heavy tech investment still required. Then, in November 2021, iRobot bet big on a whole smart home ecosystem by acquiring a Swiss air purifier company named Aeris for a cool $71.4 million. But the air purifiers never scaled. Banking on pandemic-era demand, iRobot entered a crowded market dominated by brands like Dyson and Blue Air. Aeris brought in just $8 million in 2022, out of $278 million in total. By Q4, it wasn't even mentioned. And while those side bets flopped quietly, the core product was falling behind quite loudly. For years, iRobot refused to combine vacuuming and mopping. They kept the vacuum, Roomba, and the mop, Grava, separate. 2 devices, 2 price tags. Their reasoning? A purist view that vacuuming and mopping robots should remain separate products. That might have made sense for their products and bottom line, but it didn't make sense for consumers who just wanted one that could do both, like Rosie. It wasn't just about the vacuum's cleaning capabilities. iRobot was also missing the shift in how these robots saw the world. No, literally. When it comes to robot vacuums, there are 2 main types of navigation, LiDAR and VSLAM. LiDAR uses advanced lasers to map the room. It's like blindfolding yourself and using your hands to fill the space. You don't need visibility, just enough room to move and detect what's around you. VSLAM uses a camera to see and remember where it's been. It's like relying on pictures you've taken to retrace your steps. It's great as long as nothing changes. iRobot stuck with the camera-based VSLAM system. In a world of laser-guided robots, Roomba was basically using a Polaroid. Jetsons on the outside, Flintstones under the hood. Once the price of LiDAR sensors dropped to $25 per unit, companies like Nito and Roborock built them into their vacuums to deliver more precise mapping at a fraction of the old cost. But iRobot held off. CEO Colin Angle explained that LiDAR was still relatively expensive for the consumer market, while VSLAM cost as little as 75 cents per unit. While others focused on smarter, all-in-one floor cleaners, iRobot split devices, skipped upgrades, and chased side projects. It's a familiar pattern, and it isn't the first time a product lost its crown. Sometimes staying on top means knowing when to reinvent what made you special in the first place. Similar things happened with Coca-Cola, Netflix, and Apple. Check out our report on the 7 products that outshine their predecessors for way more insights into the key patterns that take place when challengers like Coke Zero outperform the original kings of their categories. Grab it using the link below or scan the QR code, which brings us back to iRobot. This is the inside of a Roomba. You'll see the dustbin, the wheels, the sensors, but most importantly, you'll see these. 2 counter-rotating brushes positioned just millimeters apart. One brush lifts debris, the other pulls it in. Instead of traditional bristles that tangle with hair or scratch hardwood floors, this design uses 2 counter-rotating rubber rollers to cleanly lift dirt. All of that to say, this is the secret ingredient that makes a Roomba a Roomba. It was effective, and more crucially, it was protected. In 2002, iRobot filed a patent for the dual-stage brush assembly. That patent gave Roomba a massive edge. Sure, you could definitely buy way cheaper robot vacuums, but you couldn't get any that had that feature. For years, no one else could legally copy it, but here's the thing about some patents. They don't last forever. In the US, different types of patents have different lifespans. Utility patents basically are patents for how things are made or work, and they last for 20 years. According to the terms, you can only extend it for a maximum of 158 days after that. So, by May 5th, 2023, after iRobot invoked the extension, time was up. And just like that, a key piece of what made Roomba special was suddenly up for grabs. Almost overnight, competitors copied the design. The once exclusive feature became an industry standard. A secret weapon, 20 years in the making, gone. But even before that, the company was weakened by tariffs. In 2018, the Trump administration launched a trade war with China. By May 2019, a new wave of Section 301 tariffs hit robot vacuums with a 25% import tax. iRobot built its empire on smart vacuums, yes, definitely, no doubt, but it also built it on a supply chain that was tethered to China. At 25%, tariffs added over $200 in import taxes to high-end Roombas. According to the Wall Street Journal, iRobot passed the cost on to customers. To compensate for the tariff, prices jumped by $100 or more on models like the already pricey Roomba i7 Plus. While they did sell in the US, the bulk of some of iRobot's Chinese competitors' sales came mostly from China, Asia, and Europe. So they skipped the US tariff entirely. Others, like US-based Shark Ninja, saw the writing on the wall and planned ahead.
We started diversifying our manufacturing about 5 years ago outside of China. And as you said, by the end of Q2, about 90% of our production will be outside of China. And by the end of the year, nearly all of it.
But iRobot stayed, meaning it was soon paying more to make its products in China while its competitors were spending less. As the competition heated up and flubs both in and out of its hands piled on, iRobot was already investing in its next innovation. The company didn't just want to fix the vacuum, they wanted to reimagine it. In 2022, iRobot unveiled iRobot OS, an AI platform designed to make Roomba smarter, more than just a machine that cleans floors. One that could understand the layout of your home, your habits, and eventually your needs. That vision caught Amazon's attention. By August 2022, the tech giant announced plans to buy iRobot for $1.7 billion. The idea was to integrate Roomba's home mapping tech into Alexa's brain and push deeper into what Amazon calls ambient intelligence, which could predict behavior. In other words, give Alexa a body that can clean your home before you even ask, while you focus on other things or just relax. Eat that sandwich, George. But the deal didn't go as planned. In January 2024, regulators in the US and the EU stepped in. They blocked the acquisition, citing antitrust concerns and, more urgently, privacy fears. Because I don't know if you knew this or not, but Roombas don't just vacuum. They also collect detailed spatial maps of the inside of your home. That data, including who owns it, who controls it, and what it can be used for, was way too much for regulators to ignore. After the Amazon deal collapsed, CEO Colin Angle stepped down. He told the board iRobot needed a new leader with turnaround experience. Enter Gary Cohen, seasoned fixer, best known for bringing Timex back from the brink. Cohen was hired in May 2024 to do the same for iRobot, and he wasted no time. Within months, iRobot officially shut down its side projects. The lawnmower and the air purifiers went bye. The company cut 31% of its workforce and trimmed R&D spending by up to $20 million a year. It was a full pivot. Engle's long-term vision was out, survival mode was in. Then, in March 2025, iRobot made a big announcement. Around 12 years after competitors added it, they were finally rolling out LiDAR. It's a humbling turn for a company that once led the pack. Whether it can turn it around is still an open question. But one thing's clear, iRobot didn't lose its lead in one big blow. It vacuumed it up, bit by bit, until there was nothing left. If you want to check out another story on how a company's own mistakes led to some pitfalls, watch my breakdown on how Liquid Death failed in the UK. Don't forget to check out our report on the 7 products that outshined their predecessors in the link below, and subscribe to the Hustle YouTube channel for the latest in business and tech news.